What's up, everybody? Craig here to do my contest entry into mphsVinylJim and the Mrs. Show Your Stones contest. Had to jump on this immediately. Such a cool contest. Jump right into it. First of all, my favorite Stones song and my introduction into the Stones. I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, something like that, from the album Steel Wheels, Mixed Emotions. Just a classic. I was introduced to more of the later period Stone stuff, so Steel Wheels and On was my introduction. Very cool. Love this album. Definitely one of my favorites, but not my top favorite Stones album. My favorite Rolling Stone would be Keith Richards. Easy one. Such a great guitarist. You know, I mean, yeah, he's not flashy, he's not a virtuoso, but the stuff he did and still does to this day, and his solo work is my favorite out of all the Stones solo stuff and things that they did outside the band. I mean, his first album, Talk Is Cheap, shit. That is a classic and one of my favorite albums in that vein of genre of music. Such a classic. And, I mean, songwriting, you know, classics. I mean, I think for 60s guitarists, I mean, you've definitely got Keith Richards, George Harrison, you know, you got your, you know, Roger McGuinn, Michael Bloomfield. I mean, the list is endless of great guitarists. So, Keith Richards stands on his own, and I mean, like, classic riffs, and, I mean, made me want to pick up a guitar, you know, just his way of playing stylistically, and, like, I mean, he looks cool, as haggard as he looks. Even, shit, in 1972 he looked like he was 50, but I guess heroin will do that to you. But anyway, I would love to show everything I own Stones related, but this video would be like 45 minutes long, between books, DVDs, CDs, tapes, VHS, DVDs, and all my paraphernalia, everything, so I'm a huge Stones fan. They're definitely in my top 10, not in my top 5. That is reserved for really special ones, but definitely top 10. I love Stones, but I'm going to strictly leave this to vinyl. And I'll try to be quick about it too. So let's just get right into it. I don't want to bore you. Alright. Oh my god. Now you'll notice some gaps in here and stuff like that, which sucks and is sad, but I'm getting there. It'll only take time. I think I'm actually, give me 2 seconds, I'm missing one. Even though it's not that important. Did some real good organizing before I started this. Alright, let's get started. Alright. First things first, my mono pressing of Out of Their Heads, or Out of Our Heads, excuse me. It's a late night. I've talked about that one in the Vinyl Finds a while back, so we won't go into that one. Big Hits, High Tides and Green Grass, my introduction into early Stones. I mean, just a classic first, you know, greatest hits, Satisfaction, The Last Time, 19th Nervous Breakdown, It's All Over Now. So many classics, and I've actually owned multiple copies of this between CD and vinyl and stuff like that. So, booklet and everything. Alright, move this along here. Aftermath, In It Black, Under My Thumb, Stupid Girl, Lady Jane. Oof. Classic, and I believe the first complete album that was all original Stones material. So, I just showed this between the buttons, mono. Definitely has some of my just general favorite songs. You know, Let's Spend the Night Together, Connection. I know MrCgoodwin. She Smiled Sweetly. Cool. Flowers. My 3D copy of Their Satanic Majesty's Request. Thrashed. And the vinyl Thrashed. I actually got this as a gift from a friend of mine. And I mean, it's in the collection just because I've had it on CD since I was about 12, so it's not like I'm relying on the vinyl to do any representation. My vinyl copy is shot, so if anybody out there can help me out with that one, you know, even if you got a halfway decent copy you want to get rid of, even if it's not a 3D cover, whatever, you know, shoot me a PM. We'll work something out. That also has one of my favorite Stones songs, 2,000 Light Years Away. Alright, moving on to Let It Bleed. Such a classic. Monkey Man, Midnight Rambler, Live With Me, Give Me Shelter. Oh yeah. Classic live album, Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. Sticky Fingers with the zipper. Little worn, cover's pretty worn. Vinyl's in alright shape. I rely on my CD copy to listen to, but one I'm also on the lookout for. I still love it regardless. A nice overview and a good introduction into the Stones catalog, early catalog at least. Hot Rocks 64 to 71. Now getting on to my favorite Stones album. And I know, Derek, you said you weren't a fan of it, but, you know, I am, so. Exile on Main Street. This one, if I would have done a contest entry into the Soundtrack to Your Life, this would have been in the running. My introduction to this album was actually only a few years ago. I've had it on cassette and CD since I was like in middle school, but I really gave it a good hard listen when that Stones in Exile documentary came out, and holy shit. This just overall represents almost every kind of style of rock from that sort of early era that I love. You know, everything from the blues to that kind of acoustic country-ish stuff. You know, just the good all-out kind of party rock. You know, everything that the Stones represents, you know, in general, is all represented on this album, and it's just so cool. And I mean, if you haven't seen it, check out Stones in Exile. That is a great, great documentary. Oh man. And I picked this up for only like $7. And I mean, it is near mint. Postcards, everything. Such in great shape. Another good one, Goat's Head Soup. Star, such a classic. It's Only Rock and Roll. Not a bad album, and not like terribly great. Still really cool. Where the Stones Faltered. Black and Blue. Can't say I'm a real big fan of this. It's good though. I mean, it's a cool cover and everything else. You know. But, you know, and as Derek said, Jesus Christ, how high can you be? Cocaine is one hell of a drug. Another classic and favorite of mine, Some Girls. Ooh, yeah, oh yeah. I actually had a second copy of this, and I believe it was also the same Lucille Ball cover. I'm not for sure, but it was different colors. But I ended up giving that to a friend of mine who was a collector about 8 years ago, and I'm sure that got lost in the shuffle. I'll have to get with him and see if he still has it, and if so, I want it back, so I can have 2 copies. Good compilation. I actually showed in a fine video a while back. Stuck in the 70s. Very good record. Emotional Rescue. Such a good one. She's So Cold. Emotional Rescue. Dance. Indian Girl. I mean, this is a really good album, and I think it's very underrated and gets lost in the shuffle. And that Emotional Rescue video, Derek, oh yeah, man. I agree with you on every level. Check out his video, by the way, if you haven't yet. that was a really good entry. Tattoo You, which if you do your Stones research, this is kind of a put together album, which I mean a lot of their albums were to a degree, leftover songs from a different period, just kind of all thrown in the mix. It's not like they went in the studio and recorded all these songs at once. But, I mean, this is still a solid album. I mean, obviously, Start Me Up, we've all heard it a million times, but it's still cool to hear it. But my favorites would definitely be like Hang Fire, Slave, Little TNA. Neighbors is cool. Waiting on a Friend. I really, really can dig on that song. And finally, in the vinyl selection, Still Life. Good, live representation from their 81, 82 tour and stuff. I think the selections that they made on this weren't that great. They probably could have picked some better tunes to put on this, but I mean, it's still cool and just kind of a nice document from that tour. If you get a chance, check out the live video, Let's Spend the Night Together, and also the I know it's not an official release, but there's a boot out there for the Hampton, Virginia show, which is an indoor show. I think the Let's Spend the Night Together was all outdoor. For a good indoor show, it's actually really cool and well shot and good sound. Hampton, Virginia, 81. I've got that on DVD, and that's a really, really cool show to watch. So, that pretty much sums it up. Thanks for watching, and can't wait to see some more entries. So, everybody take care. See ya.